set?
Yeah, no,
Just
you're
check.
good.
Just check.
I'll let him know that it's coming.
Yeah.
Guys, can we have you stand behind the microphone,
Yeah,
please?
if we have any
Thank you.
questions shortly, just we'll ask them a little bit. Just tell me when you're ready.
Are we on?
Yes.
Yeah, whenever
Yeah,
you're
I just want to get this out of the way. I mean, I've been, part of the International President's Cup team for a long time, and Hideki's a very good friend and a great professional, and what happened here today is very unfortunate. So just get that out of the way.
Steve, if you could just explain to us what the situation was as the chief referee of the PGA Tour at this event.
Yeah, our committee became aware through some pictures that were posted that there may be a substance that has been painted on the face of one of Hideki's clubs. Unfortunately, when we found out about it, Hideki was playing the second hole. And we approached Hideki and went through the process. Hideki, are you carrying this club? Yes. Have you used this club? Because if he hasn't used the club, it's okay to carry a non-conforming club. You just can't use it. Have you used this club? Well, the poor guy's played one hole, and he managed to use it off the first tee. So at that point, without jumping to too much conclusion with the club and what was done to the club, I met Hideki at the fifth tee. The damage was done, one shot, and it's a disqualification. So I said, just keep playing. Let's do our due diligence with this club, with the USGA, equipment standards guys, and our committee to ascertain that we're coming up with the right result here. So I met Hideki at the fifth hole, took some very detailed pictures of the club. These equipment rules can get real finicky real quick. They're not like the normal getting a guy off a car puff stuff, right? So took some pictures, regrouped with the USGA equipment guys, John Much, who represents us in the Equipment Standards Committee, and went through what is outlined under the equipment rules, under Rule 4A3 of the equipment rules, that says a substance or any treatment can't be applied to the face of a club which could influence the flight of the ball, the spin, the loft, or anything on the ball, how the ball performs. So at that point it was how much of this substance is actually on the face of the club, and the pictures were damning. There was so much of the white. You've seen pictures of it. There was a lot of the white. It's very much like a whiteout you might use on a paper on a paper at home. A whiteout substance that was very much up on the face of the club, which really it's very clear in the equipment rules that's not allowed. So not being allowed renders the club non-conforming. So now we go back into the rules of golf themselves and out of the equipment rules. And the rules of golf clearly state under Rule 41A that the use of a non-conforming club is a disqualification. And my worst fear was I was hoping he hasn't used it at the first tee, hasn't used it at the second tee. We were going to get to him before the third tee, which I was thinking he probably may use it off the third tee, but the damage was done at the first hole, unfortunately. So just unfortunate set of circumstances for Hideki, for sure.
Where were these pictures, and how did you find out about these pictures?
Yeah, Steve, the pictures were posted on the internet. I'm not 100% sure of the site on the internet. We learned of them literally at 1 o'clock today, before literally as Hideki was playing the first hole. Someone in our committee was sent these pictures and said, "Have you guys seen Hideki's club?" No, we haven't. Maybe this is old pictures from taken somewhere else or anything. Then I looked closer at the posting, and it said taken 3 days ago. And I'm like, hoping it was just on the range or something he was messing around with. Maybe he doesn't have it in his bag. But all the questions, he was very honest and forthright about it, and unfortunately it was in his bag and he used it.
Did somebody actually called in?
No, it wasn't a calling. It was not a calling. Our committee learned of this post. I mean, everyone sees it everywhere, right?
How did
So.
they learn?
What's that, Doug?
How did they learn?
It was sent to one of our committee members. Yeah.
By who?
Another person in the world of golf. I don't need to really get into that, but it was. I mean, if this had got carried on into Saturday or Sunday, and before we learned about it, it's the worst possible result at that time. Us knowing about it and learning about it right now, Hideki carrying it, and let's act on it right now and try to.
Just curious, when you looked at his club, was there any kind of smearing of the dots?
No, there was no dots. It wasn't dots, Doug. It's actually painted lines.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
There was no smearing. It's very much set paint. It's set. It wasn't smeared at all. How many times has he hit the club this week? I don't know. So, but it was very fixed. Yes, that's the club. very painted. So, and as I just said on TV, the number one lesson, right, is don't paint the faces of your clubs. It's okay to have and the equipment rules are very specific about it. It's okay to have very small, discrete markings on your face for alignment purposes, like a Sharpie dot or here and there that aren't going to influence the ball. But that much substance is clearly, above what the equipment rules allow. If the paint had been down in the grooves and in the bottom of the grooves where it's not on the face, not making contact with the ball, again, no problem.
Did you actually
But
check,
it was the fact.
did you actually check the thickness of the white?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got it, took some pictures, and I was looking at it myself closely, and I actually closed my eyes and rubbed my fingernail across. And one way I could feel it, the next way I couldn't. But you could definitely, even though it was done with a whiteout-like substance, it was thick enough that you could pick up on it where it was on the face.
For folks at home who don't know, what would be the impact of something like this
Yeah.
on the ball or club face?
I mean, if it was going to help me, I'd probably have it on there right now. But I mean, the equipment rules, are made, to try to, make sure that the game is played and enjoyed by everybody without, people applying chapstick on their face of their driver, right, to no spin or anything. So the rules are very clear about applying something that affect the spin, respect how ball flies, loft, speed, all kinds of different, characteristics that the ball has when after it hits the face. So nothing applied to the face specifically is allowed. Yep.
You said he was forthright and honest as to him doing it. Did he give you a reason as to why?
It's in talking to the gentleman. The gentleman was with Bob Turner that actually applied the material to the face. The material was applied to the face for alignment, for Hideki to set the ball inside the circle of the lines. So that's actually the center of the face. And applying a small discrete dot with a Sharpie to help you with alignment is fine. We have players do it all the time. But the amount of substance that was up on the face of the club when we sent it to the USGA and their equipment standards guys, it was just excessive, and that's what could affect the performance of the ball.
So is it just basically a mistake on his part as to the amount that he applied? He wasn't aware he was doing that much. Or?
I will say this is a mistake, because I will say it was a mistake on their behalf. The gentleman that handles Hideki's clubs, his name is Panda. You probably know Panda. Me, oh yeah, okay. Well, anyway, so he had done this on Hideki's driver before and had been stopped on the driver, had shown it to, and he thought that only applied to the driver. It applies to all your clubs, so he thought that only applied to the driver. Well, and then he applied it. Then he went down into the 3-wood with it, and that's, of course, non-conforming also.
When did he apply to the driver and was stopped?
I know that John Much had a conversation with that club gentleman. Alex, I don't know exactly when. I don't know exactly when that conversation was, but it's been in the past. This gentleman has talked to John Much, who represents us with the equipment rules, equipment standards on the Rules of Golf Committee. He's talked to John a lot about Hideki's equipment, and this substance on the face before has come up with Hideki. So, and actually, he had too much substance on a driver before that was removed. This gentleman just told me in the parking lot he thought it only applied to the driver, but it applies to all your clubs. So
is it a fair inference here that suggests that he's been applying this to his clubs for a period of time?
No, I don't think so. I think we would have learned about it. I mean, he's on camera all the time. This guy's, he stuff's on camera all the time. I think this was fresh this week. It's a relatively new 3-wood, it looked like, and he was just looking for a place to make sure he had the ball centered in the face. So they just went about it with like a paper whiteout brush, and there it was.
And just to get back to Doug's question,
Mm-hmm.
you said you learned from someone else.
Mm-hmm. It was sent to a member of our committee. It was posted on the internet, sent to a member of our committee. Have you guys seen this?
And when you say sent to a member of your committee, do you know who that person was that sent it?
I do. It was another person in the golf industry. Yes.
Okay, and you're not willing to.
No, I don't think that's important here. I mean, I think it would have been, Alex. It would have come across sooner or later. It was going to be on camera this afternoon. It would, and then, like I said, the worst case scenario is we don't learn about this until Saturday or Sunday, And who knows what the ramifications are then, like with John last year. So, yeah, it's never a good time to disqualify a player. But certainly, getting it out of the way before it impacts the competition is the best way forward. Sorry, Shed. Yeah.
Just to be clear on something, Eddie, on the alignment stuff, the issue was not so much how many, but the fact that it was raised?
Yeah, just the issue, Doug, it was actually quite thick on the face of the club.
Right.
On the face.
So it was kind of above and beyond the face?
Not down into the grooves, but actually on the face between the grooves.
You could have had
Yes.
8 of them as long as they were inside the grooves and not...
If he just had, I told him in the parking lot, Hideki, if you'd had just like 4 Sharpie dots around here, it's fine. A Sharpie dot doesn't, the equipment standards people say, a Sharpie dot, so fine, it cannot influence the flight of a ball. But when you start applying that much material that can take spin off a ball or it can affect the flight, that's when they go to non-conforming. So,
getting in late, but just
No.
What hole was he on when you found out?
He was playing the first hole.
He was playing the first.
He was on the first green when the pitcher first came over. Where was he? First hole. Okay, great. Get to him. Does he have the club in his bag as he used it? The answer to both those questions were yes. I mean, the guy's hit 1 shot today.
Okay, so it was immediate.
Yeah. If he needed a driver off the first tee, he'd still be playing.
Rennie, can we just finish up by you informed Hideki on the 10th tee. How was the reaction? What was that situation like?
I think after we talked about it in the 5th fairway, I'm not going to say he was expecting it, but it probably wasn't as much a surprise as it would have been if he'd been unknown. We told him we were looking at this. There was a problem with the stuff on the face, but our committee wanted to give, Hideki all the due that he was deserved while we ascertained whether this club was non-conforming or not.
Okay. Well, we appreciate your time coming in. Thanks for the explanation.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You got it.
Yeah. Sorry.